getting back to the airport, and I read with interest that Rex Airlines, which does fly into Ceduna, is taking on Qantas at the ACCC. And at a national level, there is this skirmish that's arisen between Rex and Qantas. So Rex is going into Qantas's territory. Qantas is going into Rex's territory, says Rod Sims. He says that Rex wants to compete in the Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane routes, and at the same time Qantas is putting its planes into regional areas. The federal government's given the ACCC information gathering powers to look at these circumstances. This news comes as Qantas has revealed that it has $1 billion loss due to the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. I mean, at the same time too, we've seen the airlines, and Rex included, receiving government handouts in order to keep them going. But this has become a really important time for the services to be continued to be provided to regional areas and those routes to have access. We've got doctors coming between, say, capital cities and bigger country towns. We've also got the need for passengers to go to and from, kids to go to boarding schools, all sorts of things that come into this for families that live in regional and remote areas. When we take a look at Australia's flagship airline Qantas, it suffered this $1 billion loss, and the airlines endured an underlying loss before tax of $1.03 billion, and that is massive in itself. Qantas's Group CEO, Alan Joyce, has said that these results that have been released on Thursday are stark but not surprising. And in the Flow News 24 article about this, virtually all of our international flying and 70% of our domestic flying was stopped, said Mr. Joyce. But when the opportunity to fly domestically is there, we saw a significant amount of travel demand, and that's generated some positive cash flow. The only issue with that is that some of that domestic flight stuff is going into regional areas where Rex is also competing. So we then get to the next component of this, and that is that with the more certainty that domestic borders will provide, that the airlines will be able to continue to provide increase those services into regional and capital city markets. But we're virtually the international flight side of it is very, very sketchy, and there's minimal flights in that area. So I don't think it's going to get any better for Qantas in the short term. JobKeeper has been a major situation for airlines. The impact that they've had has meant that they've been on JobKeeper for much of their workforce. And then you look at when that does finish, have we got a return to normality? And one would suspect with international flights that that's going to take even years to get back into order. And so we're going to continue to see these circumstances that Rod Sims of the ACCC will be looking at about the competition between, say, Rex and Qantas and how that is impacting regional services. I think competition is a good thing in terms of price, but ultimately you've got to be able to keep these airlines trading and providing a service, and one can't prop them up forever.